So today I'm going to prove that a space monkey getting roasted on a stick is why The Mandalorian is the best version of Star Wars. Now, before we start, I want to verify that I don't actually think The Mandalorian is the best Star Wars media put to film, but it's definitely the most Star Wars. So before we actually begin, I got a question for you guys. What is the best Star Wars trilogy? I'll give you this amount of time. And after whatever arbitrary amount of time I put on the screen, if you answer anything than the original trilogy, you are on whatever the people in Dune take, or whatever the Umbrella Academy creators were on when they made that wonderful and weird and wacky awesome thing, which I would actually recommend watching. It's genuinely good. The answer to that question matters mostly because I want to talk about why the originals were so good, why it matters, and why it matters in relationship to why The Mandalorian is so good. But to explain, we actually have to talk about the prequels, unfortunately. But as much as I want to bash on the prequels in this vid, because it's the prequels, this video is not about how good or bad, or my opinion, or your opinion on the prequels. But we do need to talk about one of the bigger complaints about this movie, which was more or less that they were too clean looking, especially compared to the originals.
You'll be dead! This little one's not worth the effort. Come, let me get you something.
But in my opinion, to be honest, when Sam Jackson's in your movie and he's lame, I think the whole clean thing is like the smallest of problems. Anyway, the whole clean thing matters because The Mandalorian is very much, I don't think dirty is the right word, but it's definitely an outlaw story. It's this gritty, awesome story about the underworld, and it just encompasses the idea of the originals. Like, we finally used our modern technology in a Star Wars movie to just create true Star Wars. The original movie was about a bunch of space outlaws and peasants getting together, banding together and doing crazy things in space. It's not a story about freaking politics or like a kid movie. And maybe we get a cool space battle every now and then, but in the end, it is at its core just a very cool movie about outlaws and renegades. Also, the whole space monkey thing becomes important because the scene where I realized that this show is just going to be a spaghetti western in space was when the space monkey was getting roasted on a stick. About 15 minutes into the first episode, I think, which probably says more about me than it does about the show. So yeah. Anyway, I would definitely recommend checking out The Mandalorian. Duh, it has great reviews. It's a little overrated in my opinion, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, but it's actually pretty awesome, and it is just all the classic stuff you love from old media, old-fashioned stuff with like Clint Eastwood. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. I think I'm the last person to check out Mandalorian though.